Navadvipe Purushottama Pandita Mahashaya Nityananda Name Yanra Mahon Madahaya Navadvipe Purushottama Purushottama of Navadvip Pandita Mahashaya, a very learned scholar. Nityananda Name, in the name of Lord Nicheananda Prabhu. Yahara, whose Maha Unmada, great ecstasy. Haya, becomes. Translation. Purushottama Pandit, a resident of Navadvip, was the 8th Gopal. He would become almost mad as soon as he heard the holy name of Nicheananda Prabhu. Please repeat. Purushottama Pandit, a resident of Navadvip, was the 8th Gopal. He would become almost mad as soon as he heard the holy name of Nicheananda Prabhu. Purport. It is stated in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that Purushottama Pandit was born in Navadvip and was a great devotee of Lord Nicheananda Prabhu. As one of the 12 Gopalas, his former name was Stoka Krishna. So, unfortunately, there's very small excerpts. I've got small excerpts from the Caitanya Bhagavat and very short excerpts from the Sri Nicheananda Caritamrita, but they're just little bits of nectar about these devotees. So there are 5 of them we're talking about today. So in the Caitanya Bhagavat, it's explained that Sri Purushottama Pandit appeared in Navadvip. He was fully surrendered at the lotus feet of Lord Nicheananda. And in the Nicheananda Caritamrita, it's explained, Pandit Purushottama was born in Navadvip. He was a great devotee of Nicheananda Swarup. Lord Nicheananda had previously resided at his house. By his mercy, one's mind becomes fixed at the lotus feet of Lord Nicheananda. These dear devotees of Lord Nicheananda are so special in so many ways, and they can actually give us Lord Nicheananda. So the fact that he was previously Stoka Krishna, Stoka Krishna is quite one of Krishna's famous friends, and I wanted to read you a little bit about Stoka Krishna, or a group of these friends in which he's contained, from the Nectar of Devotion. So the most confidential friends of Krishna are called Priyashakas, and are almost Krishna's age. Because of their very confidential friendship, their behavior is only on the basis of pure friendship. The behavior of other friends is on the ground of paternal love or servitorship, but the basic principle of confidential friends is simply friendship on an equal level. Some confidential friends are as follows: Sri Dharma, Sudama, Dharma, Vasudharma, Kinkini, Stoka Krishna, Angshu, Bhadrasen, Vilasi, Pundarik, Vitanka, and Kalavinka. By their various activities in different pastimes, all of these friends used to give transcendental pleasure to Krishna. The behavior of these confidential friends is described by a friend of Radharani, who told Srimati Radharani, "My dear, graceful Radharani, your intimate friend Krishna is also served by his intimate boyfriends. Some of them cut jokes with him in mild voices and please him very much by this." And there's an example a little later on in the Nectar Devotion of where Stoka Krishna was busy fighting with Krishna. And then his father was like, "You can't fight with Krishna, he's our life and soul." And then Stoka Krishna didn't quite know what to do, so he stopped. So then Krishna continued to challenge him. he wanted to continue the fight. So Stoka Krishna got a big pole and he started twirling the pole very dexterously to fight with Krishna. So they have a very close friendship, and here he's come as this great devotee, Purushottama Pandit. Next verse is Balaram Das, Balarama Dasa Krishna Prema Rasavari, Nityananda Nami Haya Parama Unmari. Balaram Das always fully tasted the nectar of love of Krishna. Upon hearing the name of Nicheananda Prabhu, he would become greatly maddened. So there's no purport, and there's a little bit, once again, just these little snippets. Balaram Das, who was intoxicated with bhakti ras, was a follower of Nicheananda Prabhu. If the breeze that touched Balaram Das touched someone, it would eradicate all of that person's sins. Just imagine when the breeze blows past. If it touches Balaram, oh, there go your sins. Balaram Das lived in the village of Dorgachia. His contribution to Vaishnava song is unlimited. Sri Balaram Das was always absorbed in loving devotional service. Anyone in his presence became free from all sinful reactions. So these are wonderful details about these special devotees of Lord Nicheananda. Next verse, Mahabhagavata Yadunata Kavichandra Yanhara Hridaye Nritya Kare Nityananda. Yadunath Kavichandra was a great devotee. Lord Nicheananda Prabhu always danced in his heart. Purport. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi-lila, it is said that a gentleman known as Ratnagarbha Acharya was a friend of Sri Nicheananda Prabhu's father. They were both residents of the same village known as Ekachakragram. He had 4 sons, Krishnapada, Makaranda, Krishnananda, Jiva, and Yadunath Kavichandra. So they were friends from young, and they had pastimes together in Ekachakra village. Next one. All right. It's hard not to get mixed up. Sri Yadunath Kavichandra was incessantly swimming in a nectarine ocean of Krishna Prem. His constant guide and shelter was Lord Nicheananda. And here a little bit. Yadunath Kavichandra was full of love of God. Lord Nicheananda was always merciful to him. Next one is text 36. Radhe Yanra Janma Krishna Dasa Dvijavara Sri Nityananda Tenho Paramakinkara. The 21st devotee of Sri Nicheananda in Bengal was Krishnadas, Brahmana, who is a first-class servant of the Lord. Radhadesh, or Prabhupada says Radhadesh refers to the part of Bengal where the Ganges does not flow. And as we know, Lord Nicheananda appeared in Radhadesh in Ekachakra because the Ganges does not flow there. So it's that area. And Krishnadas Brahmachari, okay. Krishnadas Brahmana. They often in here they call him Vipra Krishnadas, which means Brahmana. He was born in Radhadesh, or here it just says he was born in Radhadesh, and he was counted among the associates of Nicheananda. And then, as explains in his previous incarnation, Krishnadas was a friend of Krishna known as Lavanya. He resided at the village of Ahaitaka. He was a companion of Sri Gauranga when he visited South India. So, as we know, Lord Nicheananda was the one who suggested that Krishnadas, he described him as a very simple and learned Brahmana. Krishnadas go with Lord Chaitanya, who did not want to go within a great amount of people to South India. He wanted to go alone, but the devotees insisted that he had to take somebody, and they chose Krishnadas. And unfortunately, Krishnadas wandered into a camp of gypsies and was kind of got a little bit distracted. So Lord Chaitanya went and he pulled him out by the hair. He grabbed him by the seeker and pulled him away. So when they went back to, of course, Krishnadas was very ashamed that he got distracted. And when they went to back to Jagannath Puri, he so wanted to, Lord Chaitanya to just forgive him and go on. But Lord Chaitanya was not very happy with him. So it was Lord Nicheananda and the other devotees who devised a means to keep him in service. They sent him to Mother Sachi to speak to Mother Sachi. So he went to Navadvip. So he was happily once again engaged. And, it's described there in the purport where that's being described, that sometimes the devotees of the Lord are more merciful than Lord himself, because they were the ones that showed mercy on Krishnadas. And the next one is 37 is the last one for today. Kala Krishnadasa Bada Vaishnava Pradhana Nicheananda Chandra Vinu Nahi Jane Ana. The 22nd devotee of Lord Nicheananda Prabhu was Kala Krishnadas, who was the 9th cowherd boy. He was a first-class Vaishnava and did not know anything beyond Nicheananda Prabhu. In the Caitanya Bhagavat, Antya Kanda chapter 6, it is said that Krishnadas, who was known as Kaliya Krishnadas, was formerly a Gopal cowherd boy of the name Labanga. He was one of the 12 cowherd boys. Kaliya Krishna had his headquarters in a village named Akaihata, which is situated in the district of Burdwan within the jurisdiction of the post office and police station of Katwa. It is situated on the road to Navadvip. To reach Akaihata, one has to go to the Vyandela Junction station, to the Katwa railway station, and then go on about 2 miles, or one has to get off at the Danahata station and from there go 1 mile. The village of Akaihata is very small. In the month of Chaitra, on the day of Varuni, there is a festival commemorating the disappearance day of Kala Krishnadas. And here it explains, Kala Krishnadas was a devotee famous throughout the 3 worlds. Remembering him, one attains Gauranga's lotus feet. And it's in the Sri Caitanya Bhagavat. Sri Kaliya Krishna is famous in all the 3 worlds. Simply by remembering him, one attains the association of Lord Chaitanya. So, these are wonderful claims about these devotees of Lord Nicheananda. And Prabhupada, there's 2 things in that purport that I was thinking about. The first is that why is Srila Prabhupada giving such, details for the birthplace of this devotee? And then I was thinking, well, of course, in the future he wanted devotees to go and visit and to then find out more about these wonderful devotees and to glorify them. And there's a wonderful reason why glorifying Krishna's devotees is so important. But that's why Srila Prabhupada gave directions many times in the Caitanya Caritamrita, the directions to quite obscure places, but they are holy places because wonderful Vaishnavas took birth there. And the second thing I was thinking about is that it explains that his disappearance day was celebrated, is still celebrated. So, of course, there's the devotee's appearance day and disappearance day. And the appearance day is full of all hope, what will happen. Disappearance day, this devotee has used his life in the service of Krishna, and now he's going back to his Lord. So it's a very celebratory day, the disappearance day of a great Vaishnava. And for example, in Vrindavan, on the disappearance day of Sanatana Goswami, loads of Brijbasis shave their head every year. And that is such a sign of respect because, for example, we saw the picture of Srila Prabhupada with a shaven head when he was young. He shaved his head because his father had departed, and that's a sign of respect. So these devotees in Vrindavan to this day respect Sanatana Goswami so much that the men will shave their heads on that day. So it's a wonderful mark of respect, and one can only think how Krishna, that must be so pleasing to Krishna that his devotees are remembered with such veneration still to this day. And even in our own movement, we have an example of a devotee who was so a wonderful devotee, Jayadev, who was very early on in the movement, who supported the temple. He was a very special devotee, supported the temple by his taxi driving. He was a temple, and he built the Rath Yatra carts. And when he was leaving his body from leukemia, he got $5,000 from the government, which was a lot of money in those times, and he gave it to Srila Prabhupada. So, he was a real Rath Yatra man. So Srila Prabhupada has instructed that Jayadev's picture should be on every Rath Yatra cart. And still to this day, people say, who's this? This white devotee's picture on the Rath cart, and that is Jayadev. So Srila Prabhupada respected him so much, and he wanted him remembered. So it's really, really, really beneficial for our hearts to remember pure devotees. I recently found out that in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 2,300 devotees are glorified in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, similarly in Caitanya Caritamrita, you could think, initially I used to wonder, when we first got Caitanya Caritamrita, there's all these chapters on these people we never heard of. I couldn't understand how important it was, but Krishnadas, of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj writing this, he knew how important these devotees, how vital they were. So, so it's described that Krishna actually becomes more pleased when we glorify his devotees than when we glorify him, because the whole universe is glorifying God, well, most of it. They're glorifying God, but his pleasure is to hear his devotees glorified. That makes him happy. So I was thinking about some reasons why the devotees of the Lord are so important. And first of all, one has to remember that they're within their body, they are the abode of all good qualities. Within their hearts are all good qualities. So there's one wonderful reason. And then we get the 26 qualities of a Vaishnava. And you can go through them, when you think of Srila Prabhupada and you go through, check, 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 perfectly, everything there. So all these devotees, they're filled with pure qualities, the best qualities. That's one reason. And there is a statement in Caitanya Caritamrita about this. This is there's a few just statements on the glories of devotees in the when Lord Chaitanya is talking to Sanatana Goswami, when he's instructing Sanatana Goswami. So this is in Madhya 22, and yes. So there are many. A Vaishnava is one who has developed all good transcendental qualities. All the good qualities of Krishna gradually develop in Krishna's devotees. That's why Krishna's devotees are so attractive, because within them they're developing these wonderful qualities, of transcendental qualities of Krishna. They're becoming more and more evident. And the next verse, 76, in one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifest. So there's one reason why the devotees are so important. And secondly, that heart of those devotees, those hearts are filled up with love for Krishna. And what does Krishna do when someone loves him? He reciprocates constantly. So there's an exchange going on between those devotees' hearts and the Lord at all times. So how glorious is that? So again, I wanted to read from Caitanya Caritamrita, a little bit further on in that chapter, 95 and 96. Lord Krishna is very kind to his devotees. He is always very grateful and magnanimous, and he possesses all abilities. A learned man does not give up Krishna to worship anyone else. And in the purport, Prabhupada mentions that Krishna is always grateful and he never forgets the service of a devotee. And the next verse, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I should have silenced it. Forgot. I don't know how to stop it. Yes, so Prabhupada says in the purport, he never forgets the service of devotees. So sometimes we think, oh, you know, especially if you might hit a rough patch and you think, oh, you know, it's so tough and, you know, I'm not really, you know, giving much to Krishna. But then at least we can think, oh, you know, at least I gave my youth, or, you know, at least I've given this or that, you know, because Krishna doesn't forget. We might forget what service we've done or what service another devotee's done, but Krishna never forgets. And the next verse says, my dear Lord, you are very affectionate to your devotees. You are also a truthful and grateful friend. Where is that learned man who would give you up and surrender to someone else? You fulfill all the desires of your devotees, so much so that you even give yourself to them. So that's the reciprocation going on in the heart of a pure devotee towards Krishna. So there's another reason why they're special. And then we have the fact that they are oceans of mercy. Kripa Sindhu. Their consciousness, and especially, you know, these devotees of Lord Nicheananda epitomize this. They just wanted to get the holy name out there. They were like obsessed or like completely filled up with that desire to preach and to let people know about Krishna. And that's another absolutely wonderful quality that Krishna loves, you know. Why wouldn't he love it that his devotees are going out and they're trying to bring others and tell others and let others know that they're also, you know, intrinsically connected by soul forever, eternally with Krishna. So, of course, that's very endearing to Krishna that the devotees have that focus, wonderful focus. And they're actually wanting to bring more and more souls back to the Lord. There's a quote also in a little bit further over. No, back. It's a really wonderful chapter. They're all wonderful. Okay. 83. I'm reading four verses. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love of Krishna awakens, association with devotees is most essential, still most essential. When a person wandering throughout the universe becomes eligible for liberation from material existence, he gets an opportunity to associate with devotees. When he associates with devotees, his attraction for Krishna is awakened. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the highest goal of the supreme devotees, and the Lord of the universe. 85. O devotees, O you who are free from all sins, let me inquire from you about that which is supremely auspicious for all living entities. Association with a pure devotee for even half a moment in this material world is the greatest treasure for human society. Of course, we know that comes from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, but here Lord Chaitanya is quoting it to Sanatana Goswami. And the last one, the supremely powerful message of Godhead can be properly discussed only in a society of devotees, and it is greatly pleasing to hear in that association. If one hears from devotees, the way of transcendental experience quickly opens, and gradually one attains firm faith that in due course develops into attraction and devotion. That's also from Srimad Bhagavatam. So here are just a few of the reasons. I mean, you could just take one of those reasons and then you'd just be completely indebted to the pure devotees forever, but there's so many sort of concomitant reasons, why the pure devotees are so important and so wonderful and so nourishing, for our spiritual life when we remember them. So there's a quote in the Madhya in 24, and it's a quote from a bhajan. The quote is Gaurangera Bhaktagani Jane Jane Shakti Dhari. And Prabhupada says in the purport, well, it's a little bit interesting I wanted to say about this bhajan. I was thinking, must be maybe Narottam Das Thakur. I looked through so many Narottam Das Thakur songs, it wasn't there. So, but yet Srila Prabhupada has quoted it, and I was thinking, I just couldn't find it. And then by Krishna's arrangement, someone dropped in the second I finished preparing this class. I haven't seen them much lately, but they just dropped in. And I was mentioning this particular line from this bhajan. And she said, I know who that bhajan is. It's someone called Devaki Nandandas. And Srila Prabhupada and his godbrothers, they used to sing this song. And it's a whole bhajan about Vaishnavas, the glory of Vaishnavas. But Achyutananda Swami, when he made up the book, he chose various bhajans and put them into our book. But this was sung in the Gaudiya Vaishnava temple, in the Gaudiya temples in the time of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and in some temples it's still sung today. So Srila Prabhupada quotes it, and this is the translation that he gives in his purport. He says, the purport of this song is that the devotees of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nicheananda are very powerful, and each and every one of them can deliver the whole world. So far out. So, that is why these wonderful devotees are being glorified. So, I wanted to talk just a little bit about I can't quite understand. Right, yes. Narottam Das Thakur also. We know that bhajan, Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, Sri Rupa Goswami was not his spiritual master. He was his Shiksha Guru, yes. They took Shiksha from him. Narottam took Shiksha from Jiva Goswami, Rupa Goswami, etc. But this song is completely glorifying the lotus feet of the spiritual form of Rupa Goswami. And this is a couple of the things he says in this song. The lotus feet of Rupa Manjari are the treasure of my heart and the life of my life. They're the reservoirs of all rasa for me and the fulfillment of all my desires. Just imagine. It's so far out. When we find out how deeply affected and connected these pure devotees are with each other. So I wanted to read a little bit about this wonderful Lord Nicheananda that they're all worshipping, from the Nicheananda Charitamrita, and also a little bit from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, because we have the time. There are so many wonderful descriptions of Lord Nicheananda all through this book, but I just wanted to share this. This is Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya is glorifying Lord Nicheananda, and this is what he says. The ornaments you wear, Lord Nicheananda, represent the 9 kinds of devotional service and nothing else. Hearing, chanting, remembering, offering obeisances, and so on are eternally your decorations. I do not find anything but bhakti ras in you. I'm telling you this from my heart. You are fully absorbed in the happiness of Vrindavan as one of Nanda Maharaj's family members. You have decorated yourself with various ornaments as an expression of your happiness. A fortunate person, one who feels pleasure by seeing your mysterious qualities, will surely meet Krishna. A stick, a flute, garland of gunja and flowers, and sandalwood paste naturally decorate your transcendental body. Your associates appear to me as being none other than Sridham, Sudam, and others. I consider that all the cowherd boys of Vrindavan that formerly played with you and now your associates, they all have the same mood, complexion, and potency of Nanda Maharaj's relatives. Anyone who loves you and your devotees certainly loves me. So, thinking along those lines, it's explained somewhere in here that Lord Caitanya, Lord Nicheananda, as Lord Balaram, he would go into every house in Vrindavan and, bring out the gopas in every house. And here in Navadvip, he would gather everyone together and chant the Lord's holy names through Navadvip. So it's kind of like a parallel. It's described here. So the next one I wanted to read is Lord Nicheananda's Potency. Lord Nicheananda's Potency. Dear readers, please try to comprehend the extraordinary potency of Sri Nicheananda Prabhu. How he inundated the entire planet with the knowledge and taste of devotional service to the Supreme Lord. The super excellent mood of devotional surrender of the damsels of Vrindavan, as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, was easily made available to the whole world by the mercy of Sri Nicheananda. The extraordinary potency of Sri Nicheananda is to infuse the devotees with blissful love of Krishna. The extraordinary potency of Sri Nicheananda to infuse the devotees with blissful love of Krishna was so dynamic that their bodies began manifesting all the ecstatic symptoms of prema as described in Srimad Bhagavatam: crying, shivering, being stunned, perspiring profusely, horripilation, roaring, hoarseness, turning pale, and so on. Wherever Lord Nicheananda glanced, he showered the nectarian rains of his devotional ecstasy. As his transcendental glance rested upon any devotee, that devotee was instantaneously injected with divine love and fell swooning to the ground, unaware of his actions and state of dress. Magnetically drawn to the divine person of the Lord, the devotees stretched out in an attempt to reach him. Lord Nicheananda, a perfect picture of contentment, remained seated on his throne, smiling benignly. This was the pastime where he was seated. All his main associates became imbued with extraordinary spiritual potency and mystic opulence. They became omniscient, and their every word became true. Their features flowered into the beautiful attractiveness of Cupid. Whomever they touched became electrified with a divine spiritual energy, forgetting even their own bodies, what to speak of any attachment to mundane time, place, and circumstances. The whole village of Panihati was heaved upon waves of jubilation that all the Vedas would find difficult to fully describe. In truth, what Lord Nicheananda would do in the span of an hour is practically impossible for anyone to narrate exhaustively. During each dance performance of the devotees, many incidents occurred. The dancing would inspire transcendental loving emotion amongst the watching devotees, drowning them in a deluge of Krishna prem. Sometimes when the ecstasy had reached an apex, all the spectator devotees would fall swooning. They looked like a cluster of banana trees uprooted in a storm. The devotees joyfully did as directed by Nicheananda and eagerly executed his desires. Led by Sri Nicheananda, they constantly chanted the name and glories of Krishna Chaitanya, and thus the whole atmosphere was spiritually highly surcharged. Whoever came even to simply watch the happenings would be so infected with the spiritual atmosphere that they would also become totally involved and oblivious to everything else. So we've heard about Lord Nicheananda's great beauty and his potency and the potency of his devotees. So what can we take from this? We can take from this that we've got 24 hours every day by Krishna's grace, so long as it lasts. And of course a lot of that's taken up with so many things. But we do have a mind that's always churning this and that. So if that mind can go to the lotus feet of the devotees, Lord Nicheananda and his devotees, Lord Chaitanya, and really kind of go into the depths of how glorious these devotees are. And we have a tongue, and we can share with others. And it's so pleasing. Krishna's so pleased when we glorify the devotees. So everybody's thinking, how can I please Krishna? Well, this Caitanya Caritamrita is teaching us that if we glorify Lord Chaitanya's devotees, Lord Nicheananda's devotees, then that will please Krishna. So it's actually, the formula for pleasing Krishna is not that hard. It's our minds that create all the problems. The formula is pretty easy. You know, as Prabhupada used to say, chant, dance, and take prasadam. What is the difficulty? There's a whole book written called What is the Difficulty? Because he said it many times. But you know, we've got these stubborn minds. But we can practice. We can practice by, when we read about the glories of the devotees, then we can pass that on to others. Because it's inspiring to read, and we want to inspire others. So, you know, if we talk about the devotees and glorify them, our heart becomes lighter and happier, and the other person also becomes lighter and happier, and then they pass it on and they experience this. Because we haven't got forever. We want to be able to, you know, get as close to Krishna as we possibly can. So, you know, especially when we're in old bodies, we realize we haven't got very long. So we have to utilize our time as succinctly as possible. And this is a very wonderful way. We chant Krishna's name, and of course when we're chanting, we're connecting, and we connect with these devotees. The more connecting with the heart that we do, then the more our heart becomes purified. I mean, you know, we can sit there and chant Hare Krishna, or we can sit there and read, you know. But we can do it a different way. We can do it that we dive deep and we connect. We connect with the holy name, because that's what's going to, you know, take us back to Krishna eventually. You know, that connection with the Lord's pure holy name, and we can connect with the Srila Prabhupada's books, and we can connect with these devotees that are glorified in Srila Prabhupada's books. It's really, really, really important. You know, sometimes we might think, oh, you know, this devotee, why is this devotee doing this or behaving like that? And then you start to think, oh, hang on. The whole Caitanya Caritamrita, the whole Srimad Bhagavatam, it's all about glorifying devotees. So why am I caught up in some negative things that are just going to pull me away? So it's wonderfully helpful to glorify these devotees. Just to hear about them is purifying to the heart, and just to talk about them is purifying to the heart. And that's what we want. So, thank you so much. Please forgive me for any lack, etc. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add?
Just on those names of those wonderful devotees, if you suffer from insomnia, which I do.
Say that again, sorry.
If you suffer from insomnia,
oh.
I find instead of counting sheep, I test I try and remember all these names of these devotees, as many as I can, all Chaitanya's pastimes.
That's so wonderful. I know, because you get excited, don't you? I can't think at night because I get excited, and then you get insomnious days. Anyway, that's wonderful. Okay, Jai. Hare Krishna, all glories to Sri Caitanya Caritamrita, all glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.